So there's a massive difference between mobility and stretching. Mobility is where you're actually adding active range of motion to increase muscle contractions and length. Stretching is when you sit and you reach, or you stand and you reach. What we're going to be doing is a combination of both. The first exercise I want to talk about is the split squat isometric. Okay? So again, in isometric, the joint angle isn't changing, but the body's put under a certain amount of stress to where I can actually get more mobile and more lengthened by holding a position. So again, here's hip flexion, here's hip extension. I'm trying to get as much flexion as possible in my body, as much extension on one side. Now, I can hold this position as long as possible. You're gonna have a lot of good things happen. I can start shaking, which means I'm getting stimulus, which means I'm getting stress, which means I get an adaptation and a change. It's what you want. Second, I can rotate my lat into my pocket and actually hold this. You see I'm starting to shake. I'm not faking that. My body is creating a stimulus. If I can break past that, I will open up new ranges of motion in my body. It's a full body isometric that increases range of motion and stiffness. So a lot of big problems is the lat and the back. The lats are the big muscles under the armpits that almost go all the way down to your waistline. How can we lengthen those out and stretch? So from the side, this could be a table, a bench, a chair. I'm gonna take an elbow on it and an elbow on it. I'm gonna try to have my thumbs go out, not in. So external rotation of the shoulder. As I walk my hips back, I'm trying to hold my pelvis, which is right here neutral, not dip it, but hold it neutral. And now I'm gonna drive my elbows into the bench and stretch my lats out. Now again, you're gonna feel this in your thoracic spine, which is your mid-back and upper traps, but I'm going to drive my elbows down into the bench and continue to pull down and create length in my lats. Okay, so a third one is something I do every single morning. It's how I sit in the morning, it's how I meditate in the morning, it's how I read in the morning, journal in the morning. I sit here at least 1 to 2 minutes a day. So what I'm gonna do is this is working on the ankle, the shin, the knee, the quad. I'm gonna get my feet flat on the ground. I'm gonna actively drive the top of my feet into the ground. Then I'm gonna actively pull my butt all the way down to my feet. Right now, for starters, novice, you're gonna feel this. You're either gonna feel the ankle, the shin, the knee, or the quad. Eventually, I want you to feel it in your feet. To start, you're gonna feel it right here. As I lean back, you're gonna wanna stop. So I can use a box or anything to where I can add support. As I get to my feet, now I'm starting to feel the top of my feet. If this is comfortable, now I can breathe through this. I can even continue to go back, and I could even start to do some reverse Nordics for my hips. But what I'm trying to do is sit on my feet and create range of motion to the top of my feet and quads, and we're just gonna sit. Okay, so a fancy topic in fitness right now is thoracic mobility with adding hip. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this foam roller, I'm gonna push it into the wall. This is something I try to make time for every single day. Even me just pushing into this wall, abducting my hip, I'm already cramping. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my hand, create tension. That wall might break, but I'm creating tension into the wall. From here, I'm taking this middle finger back, breathing, hope that microphone caught that cramp. Now, once I go back, I'm now going internal into that lat. Oh my gosh. All the way back. So again, front hand, mobility. I'm also getting a lot of pec in there as well. Okay, so next we're gonna work on the hip again. Okay, we're gonna work on the hip and the glute. There's a couple different ways to do a pigeon. It's not the bird, it's a stretch. This is flat, it's a lot harder, okay? It's gonna have a lot of knee pain in it. It takes a lot more depth to get into this position. So what I can do is I can work smarter. I now can bring the incline up to meet my leg. Now I can dip down into this hip. So it's a glute stretch. Now, if I can take this, I'm gonna try to hold this, drive my knee actively into the ground. If this is good, an easy change up is to make it harder so we're making progress in the gym. Lower it down 1. I now can drive my knee into the bench, into my glute, and to add again to make the exercise harder, I now can rotate into my hip and bring my chest down. So again, it's a massive, massive glute stretch.